It's not enough to just be an architect, a creative professional. The real question is, what are you doing? How are you making an impact if you don't know how to answer that question, or you feel too overwhelmed, stressed out, or burned out to even think about it? I'll help you get beyond the status quo trap in our profession to get inspired again. If you're ready, let's get architecting. Hey, Bright Lights, it's Angela, and we are back for a great episode of the Architecting Podcast. It is officially mid-year. Can you believe it? 2025 is half gone today, the day of recording, June 30th. Mid-year is a great chance to stop and take stock and say, how am I doing? In terms of what my goals might have been, what I'd hoped to accomplish. Think about 1-year goals, 3-year goals, 5-year goals. Where am I? Am I making the progress I wanted to make? Or have there been things that I got a little busy and I thought I'd get to it later, and now a few months have gone by. Later has turned into major procrastination. If so, do not worry, do not feel bad. I got your back. In this episode, we are going to tune you up, get you moving, especially if you put things off because you were waiting for the perfect timing to get started. I think the timing is really good too, because we are heading into review season, promotion season, and you really need to think about how to be your best advocate. I always say you cannot expect your boss, the owners of your company, mentors, etc., to magically read the tea leaves on your career and know exactly what you need to do and put everything in place for you. They're not your parent. You need to ask for what you want, which means you need to have clarity about what you want. Once you have a little bit of clarity, though, you need to feel comfortable that you are ready. So many times I see people wanting that promotion, wanting that opportunity, wanting that raise, but being terrified to actually say that to anyone. And guess what? If you aren't going to ask, you aren't going to get. Even if you hear a no. A no is not a complete shutdown. A no is really more of a not yet. And if you hear a no, you can always say, well, what could I do to turn that no into a yes? Let's come up with a plan. In this episode, I'm going to talk about something that I get asked a lot, especially by women in architecture, which is, how do I know that I'm ready? The biggest thing that keeps people from asking for what they want is they're worried they will look presumptuous, audacious, foolish, that they'll be laughed out of the room. Like, you think you're ready for that? Those fears, that lack of confidence, is exactly what is your biggest roadblock. So I have put together a checklist of how you know you are ready. And this will help you to come up with your own talking points that you can bring to a meeting with your boss, to your annual review. Use it to help set goals, everything you need to do to make sure that you are getting where you want to go in your career. Whether you are hoping to become the senior designer, the project manager, maybe even a partner in the firm, in this episode, I'll help you get over your doubts so you can start leading. And you can even download this checklist online. If you look, the link is in the show notes. Get it right away for free and start putting together your own action plan for the back half of 2025. Some of the things that we need to think about is, one, why do you underrate your readiness? That can happen because of a little thing called perfectionism. And perfectionism is something that is like a pernicious weed in your garden. I know I have these horrible thistles, and no matter what I do, I cannot get rid of these things. Drought, too much rain, pesticides, digging them up by the roots. Nothing I do gets rid of them. Our own perfectionism can be just like those thistles in my garden. I feel like Elmer Fudd hunting Bugs Bunny, never gonna get there, right? Well, you are a version of that when you let that stand in your way. Perfectionism causes us to have imposter syndrome. It causes us to constantly compare ourselves to others, constantly doubt our own abilities, to overperform but not really do the things that matter, to procrastinate, to wait for permission. I've done multiple episodes on perfectionism. Go ahead and check those out. And if you are really looking to work on perfectionism, head to my website. Right on the front page, you can get my guide. It's called The Perfectionist Trap. And it really helps you see perfectionism isn't just what you might think of like OCD, but that it is a lot of traits. You probably will recognize you're doing some of them, and they are really, really taking you out of the game. Make sure you get your copy of that so you can start working on it right away. Another thing that I want to talk about in terms of readiness is systemic bias. It is the reason why you have to self-advocate, especially as a woman. There can be a lot of assumptions made about what you want to do with your career path, how dedicated you are to your career, whether or not you'll be loyal to the company, whether or not you have what it takes, because you may not be exhibiting stereotypical leadership traits. That way, your intentions are clear, your goals are clear, your dedication is clear, and most of all, you are bringing the receipts. We fail so often to collect the receipts. If you did really well on a project, ask a client to give you feedback. Then you have it in their words, in writing, to attest to how great of a job you did and some specifics as to why. Ask your coworkers for feedback. Did you do work with a professional organization? Get feedback. If you worked on an initiative, show the data to show how the situation was before whatever initiative you worked on, and then show the results. What problems did you solve? What percentage of improvement did you achieve? Look at metrics. Come with those receipts. Promotion readiness is really based on 5 things. The first one is your performance, your expertise. What do you know that is of value, that is marketable, that is a skill? What makes you an expert? And second of all, how do you perform? Are you providing value? Are you getting results? Are you making projects better? Are you helping to win work? Are you helping to elevate the reputation of the company? Write that down. Collect those receipts. Next one is leadership and influence. Are you guiding others? What are you doing to mentor younger staff? What are you doing to allow others to shine? What are you doing to create psychological safety on the team? How are you helping to shape outcomes? So if a project has a setback, how are you keeping the team motivated? How are you showing persistence even in the face of difficulty? Visibility and advocacy. No one can truly see or champion your contributions if you don't share them. But they also can't value what you don't do. People use the words, I'm busy, which is code for that's not my priority. And what they don't realize is how their priority of maybe having more free time or only working what they're getting paid for is actually hurting their priority of getting a raise or a promotion at their job. Be generous with your time. Strategically volunteer. Look for professional organizations that match your interests, your expertise, your skill sets. Join them and be active. Be on a committee. Help with an initiative. Volunteer for a mentoring program. Be part of the work. You can get a lot of leadership experience through volunteer opportunities on a much bigger scale and a lot sooner in your career than you may be able to get at your paying job. And that difference you are making, that contribution you are making, that adds to your stockpile of receipts for why you deserve a raise and a promotion. Don't be afraid to raise your hand, to say yes, and then to share back. Share it on social media, sure, but don't hope someone from your company is going to discover it. Make sure that you are regularly sharing what you're involved in and what you are accomplishing. The next thing is confidence and your mindset. So often we don't stand in our power. And a lot of people are afraid to do this because they think that standing in their power means bravado, means a big ego, or really trying to show off. There is fear that in doing that, you will alienate people or that you will be exposed somehow as not all that you're saying you are. However, it isn't about you. You're not standing in your power to say, look how great I am. You're standing in your power to talk about the things you care about. This goes back to the first point around performance and expertise, things you really care about. You get clear on them. You invest time in professional development around them. You target volunteer opportunities and professional organization activities around them. Now you are an advocate for those issues. And you can talk confidently about them because you know what you're talking about. You're not talking about it to make yourself look good. You're talking about it because you are sharing your knowledge, sharing your passion. Speak with conviction. If you need to write down some facts so that you know the talking points you want to hit in a meeting, do it. If there's something you looked up or an insight you gained that will help the project, share it. Do what you need to do to show and build a base of which you really can contribute. And then you will become, over time, more and more confident. And if somebody challenges you, instead of being tongue-tied and rattled by that, you can fall back on your facts. And you can meet them with curiosity. It's easy to throw cold water on an idea that feels new or untested. But if somebody criticizes the idea, meeting them with curiosity is the best way to diffuse that being a challenge and move it into the arena of a productive discussion that won't undermine your confidence or your authority. There's ways to counter doubt and skepticism so that you can remain the authority. and the person who is confident. The last thing that we're going to talk about is strategic fit. This comes down to, are you working at the right place? And it's easy when the economy is down and you get a job offer to take it. It's also easy if you've been working at a firm to be complacent and to just show up every day and do what you know needs to be done. But if you really want to stand out, you really want to get that raise or that promotion, you need to know that this is a company that's really aligned with what you want to do in your career. Then and only then will your goals align with what the leadership of that firm is looking for. If there is not a strategic fit, if your career trajectory isn't matching the firm's growth and development trajectory, there's going to be friction. You're not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy. And the very best thing you could do in that situation is to look for a job where you will find that alignment, because you will see yourself getting opportunities and promotions in that setting very quickly versus trying to swim upstream at a company that is not a good strategic fit. Take the time to ask the questions about the company's strategy if you don't already know it. That is one of the most powerful things you can talk about with company leadership. It shows that you are invested in the company, that you care, that you are looking to understand the company's identity, the challenges that the market might be presenting, and how they are planning to grow and evolve over time. That requires a good hard look, but it will pay big dividends because there is alignment. You've now shown yourself to be somebody who cares, and you're showing how you fit in, how you will help contribute. On the other hand, if there's not alignment, you're going to have an opportunity to move on before you end up getting fired or laid off or ignored and unvalued year after year after year. Now, you don't need to be perfect. So if going through these is making you say, I don't think I'm ready, remember you only need to be about 80% of the way there to ask. Many times at companies, there is a little bit of an anticipation that you can grow into that promotion, that promotion can be a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a stretch for you. You don't have to be 100% perfect and ready. Again, going back to that perfectionist idea, you just need to be about 80% of the way there and have all of your receipts in place in order to confidently and credibly ask for a raise and promotion. So make sure that you go into the show notes and take a look at the checklist if you'd like. But no matter what, do that self-audit. Self-auditing is a really good way to have confidence because you've already asked yourself the hard questions you're likely to get asked. And you're prepared. You're going to feel so much more comfortable bringing it up if you've done your self-audit first. Next, your body does not know the difference between a situation that's real and one that you imagine. So practice talking about your value, talking about your impact, talking about your personal goals, talking about the impact you've had as well as the impact you'd like to have. The more you practice it, the more comfortable you will get talking about it. The easier you will be able to recall facts if you get a question instead of feeling flustered. And don't be afraid to bring certain notes in with you or even some handouts that you want as leave behinds with some of your receipts printed on them. The last thing that you want to do is ask specifically for feedback. A lot of times we do not self-direct ourselves in review situations. We let our boss go through some evaluation form or tell us some things, and we just kind of sit there passively. If you use these techniques, you will be proactive, but then you need to ask for feedback. Specifically, do you agree with this? Do you see this as well? Do you think that this is a good direction? Do you think this is aligned with what the company would need or want? How could I help do more or have more influence? Then you can ask for what you want in terms of the title, in terms of the opportunity, because you've shown why your ask is reasonable. Pro tip, this is not a demand. This is not an ultimatum. It is a request that is backed up by data, and it is a request that you can talk about within a time horizon. You could say, because of all of these qualifications, I believe I should be made project manager within the next 6 months. What are some opportunities to move me into that as we work towards that 6-month time horizon? So could you shadow an existing project manager and take on some of their duties so that you can learn the ropes? Could you start with a new, smaller project? What could you do? Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to put a time horizon on it. So this is not some open-ended thing that's going to be saved for a later that never really happens. Instead, it is something that is mapped out, that is clear, that puts you on the path to getting what you want, that is an action-oriented plan. Thank you for tuning into this. Don't forget to check the show notes and get your free checklist, as well as go to architectingpodcast.com and check out that perfectionist trap guide. You will find that so valuable. Remember to leave a review and to share this episode with a fellow architect you know is ready to rise. We really need to flip the script on our careers if we want to have success on our terms. Thank you, everyone, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening. If you want even more content, head on over to architectingpodcast.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get some great free downloads while you're there. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram at Architecting Podcast, Facebook and LinkedIn pages are Architecting, and the YouTube channel Architecting Podcast. Stay inspired.